Greetings, lords and ladies of YouTube land. This is TerraFreeze. We are back with another episode of Space Engineers. This is the first official video of the Space Engineers series, and it is the continuation of the most versatile ship in Space Engineers as a series. So we're going to start off in our respawn ship, and we're already in one. I'd already set this up in advance for us to be in one. But I've decided to go against that, and I'm going to go ahead and hit the backspace button to show you what the respawn screen looks like and show you what you need to do and how you need to do it in order to start your game. I'll go through later and I will show you the settings of my Let's Play Survival world, and we will get started just as soon as this world loads up. I find it'll be closer to 90 years old by the time that gets there. Alright, so we're in a respawn ship right now as we speak. We're 20 kilometers, which is where it respawned us from our base. That's our asteroid base right over there. That's our two signals, our body location, and the former mining ship that we had. Alright, let me show you real quick. This is what your standard respawn ship looks like. So as you can see, my I wasn't lying to you in the last video when I said that all I did was move the cargo container from right down there to right here, and then put you a more modern version in with that air vent. Alright, so that supplies you with everything brand new, more modern, and all in here. Okay, so that gets you along. Alright, so this is your refinery. I'll show you what this block is, how it works here in just a moment. Here is your respawn area for your ship. You don't need to worry about that right now. We'll go over that here in just one moment. And right now, we are going to hit the backspace button. And yes. Alright, so I'm going to show you a little bit about your respawn screen. Alright, so here is the respawn ship that we were just in. Alright, you can do a brand new respawn ship by doing that right there. You don't want respawn ship 2 or 3, and you don't want a small drill ship or an escape pod. Escape pod only has one-way thrusters, and it's hard to handle. So you can't do that. If you do any of these landers, it'll start you far off out there, and then you won't be able to move the landers anywhere in space, because these are meant for planetary travel only. Okay? And we could always do our spacesuit, but we won't survive long without oxygen and hydrogen. So the best choice is the respawn ship. Now, if you look right here, that's the respawn ship that we were in. It has a medical room. That's a respawn point for us. This is our little base there. We're not going to go to that. We don't want it yet. Alright, and we could use that, but we're not going to. This ship will disappear just as soon as I hit this button right there. So we respawn in that, and you can see we are now, that's where the mining ship was. That's where our body location was 20 meters away. That's where the other spawn ship was. And just to show you that I'm not kidding about that, we will press Z and turn on our inertial dampeners, which saves us from using up our fuel as we go along. And I'll stay at 105. Look on the right hand side, you see all your little stats and everything for the ship. You got your mass, your speed, your power usage, the reactors, how much it's putting out, how many thrusters you have, the dampeners, whether they're on or off, your gyroscopes, your fuel time, and the number of batteries you have, as well as your landing gears and whether or not they're in proximity something that you can land on. All right. So we're 20 kilometers away from that. I'll speed up
Ship fuel low.
to about 250. So we get there a little bit quicker. We can go up to about 300 in this ship and about 500 in these small ships, I believe is
Ship fuel
it
low.
is where the cat is. We'll test that later.
Ship fuel low.
Now, we have these GPS markers that automatically create whenever we die for our body location so that we can go back and retrieve any items that we might have had that were valuable on us. It doesn't work so well in space, but on a planet it works really, really well because they will drop and will go other places. Alright, rule of thumb here, you get to about 10 kilometers, going that fast, 250, you want to hit the Z button, turn your inertial dampeners back on, and coast the rest of the way. It'll take you almost all the way to that. It'll be like 3 kilometers shy of that one. Okay? I put us in this speed mod to kind of get us around the galaxy a little bit quicker. And this is one of the mods I was telling you about when I first started. You see we're right at 3 point probably 2 or 1. It might actually put us at 2 kilometers. So I wasn't far off with my estimation. I've been playing for a little while at different speeds and at different things, trying to figure out exactly where we need to stop and how we need to stop there. So that's just a rough estimation. Once you get to about 10, you need to slow your ship down and set everything back up.
Ship fuel low. Ship fuel low.
Now this is something. I must have it to where it didn't delete the respawn ships, because it appears as though that respawn ship that we were just at is still in the world.
Ship fuel low.
Which is really, really
Ship
interesting.
fuel low. Ship fuel low.
Okay, so what I'll do here is because I know what I'm planning on doing here. You guys don't. But this actually works out to our advantage anyway. So I will take it. And I know where it's at now. I will put a GPS locator on it. By hitting new from current position. By the way, I went too fast with that. For those of you that are just starting, you press I, it opens up this menu. If you press K, it actually opens up your inventory, not your control panel. I is usually used for when you're in the area of ships. You open I, and it'll take you directly to the control panel menu. As you see, this terminal is not connected to any ships right now. Therefore, you cannot access that menu. However, if we were here and we pressed I, it usually pops open this one, and you can see all of your stuff that's in your control panel. Alright, so for purposes of this, we can shut off all this. We can make a flight block group, and it will turn off your collector, your connector, your assembler, your thrusters, your gyroscope, and that sort of stuff, even your lights. I would leave only like the oxygen generator and the medical room running. But I'm gonna go ahead and just turn it all off, and I'm using my Xbox controller, so I would press Y on my Xbox controller to shut the whole thing down. And I'm going to press I and go right here to this GPS tab and new from current position, and it'll put your name as well as number 1, letting you know that that's the number 1 thing that you created so far. And you can backspace and edit what you want it to be. We're going to put RESPAWNSHIP number 2. Alright, and then you don't have to do anything except press enter for it to save, and then click the little X up at the top. Alright, now we press I again, go back to that GPS tab. You can see it's right there. It saved it, it edited it, it's fine, it's perfectly good. That will show up from now on. Now, this shows you where your previous body was, so we're not worried about that right now. I usually just go ahead and hit delete whenever you're in space, because it is hard for you to even retrieve your items, much less get back to your item's location. Alright, so as you can see from our former video, I still have those 2 tools on my hotbar. Let me show you how to change that. You go into the G screen by pressing the G button, and you go to character tools. These are the ones that I have lit up right now. They are the welder and the grinder. Those are the ones that I can use. As you can see, I have a regular automatic rifle I can use, and I have a hand drill. Those are what are currently in my inventory. If I do this and this, I'm now able to use them. This is used to create a new station. That tab has pretty much become obsolete, because now you can pretty much just take that number 4 area in our hotbar, and you can just attach it to I pressed it anyway. You can attach it to any asteroid, and it works the same as a station block. It won't necessarily recognize it as a station, it'll just recognize it as a static grid, but it pretty much works the same way. Now, while we're here and we're stopped, I might as well just go ahead and show you what you need to do to begin with. As you can see, when we get in here, on the right hand side, it shows you have 16 hours. But once we actually start moving, I'll move a little bit towards where the former mining ship was, where we had our little demonstration earlier in the last video. You see it says 7 minutes. It changed the fuel time down there to 7 minutes, 14 minutes now, as it's slowing down. So it's using up a lot of fuel. It went from 20 hours to 13 minutes. Alright, so we're going to cut that down even further, because when you're moving, it's only like 7 or 8 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that, where you're actually using your thrusters. And the way you do that, while you're here in the cockpit, press I. Oh, by the way, I went too fast on that as well. To access the cockpit, you press F on your keyboard. On me, with my Xbox controller, all I have to do is press the X button on my Xbox controller, and it works the same way. Okay? So, I would press I to open up my inventory menu, the same way as I did last time. And you can see connected inventories just by pressing that, changing over. This is the character inventory, this is the ship inventory, and it shows you all the connected inventories there. Alright, but that is why it has this right here, your player inventory and your ship inventory. You can also switch it there. You're sitting in the flight seat, that's why it shows the flight seat instead of the personal inventory of the character. Okay. So, next we're going to go to Control Panel, and right here, Interior Lights. We're going to make a block group. You click on the first one, then you press shift and it highlights that second one and puts it together as a group. And we're going to put LIGHTS, and we're going to hit save. And it makes this little lights group with it in stars. And you can now just click on that instead of clicking on both of those, and it re-highlights those. And we're simply going to turn the blocks off. As you see, it took a second for it to register, but those lights are now off. Now this is going to create more power for us as far as power generation. Now, your collector, your connector, you won't have to worry about your connector here in a minute, but your collector, you can go ahead and turn that off. You're not using it right now. You're not needing it for anything in particular at this particular moment, so it can be turned off. All right, your refinery can be turned off, and your assembler can be turned off. That's just wasting fuel, wasting energy. You don't need those on at this moment. I will show you what they do later, once we actually get to a destination we wish to call home, which is right back at that previous location that we were at in the last video. So, we've got all those turned off, but that's not good enough for me, because even if we exit out of this, you can see it still says 16 hours and goes to 7 minutes the minute we start moving again. So to correct this problem, we have 12 thrusters out there. We only need 10. All right, so you take this and you grind this down. Select 2 thrusters normally with regular inventory. I have an inventory mod in that allows me to collect more, but in a regular game, in a vanilla game, you can only collect 2 thrusters. Try to collect anything more than 2 thrusters, grinder, well, you can collect everything that I'm fixing to collect right now. Do this block, do this block underneath, this angled one. You can do your connector. Alright, and you can do that other thruster on this side as well as this block right here. What that will do effectively is give you all the resources you need for a merge block right there. Alright, we're going to press G and we're going to get rid of this projector and this reactor right there, because we had that during the last demonstration on the previous video. Alright, now to access your other toolbars, you press Control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. down the line. Alright, so number 2 is the one we're on. We have the merge block already selected. We only need it for one thing right at this particular moment. We're going to find an asteroid. It's going to be our main asteroid over there, and we're going to connect our merge block up right here, because if you're playing on a multiplayer server, this is a temporary ship. You can see right here, temporary ship will get removed after you leave the game or spawn in a new one. Which means if you get kicked from the game, you want to do what I'm about to show you as quickly as possible, so that even if you get kicked from the game, if you manage to lose connection, anything like that, to a multiplayer server, your ship will stay right there. Alright, now, as you can see, we've used a lot of fuel. Just in that time period, it went down quite a lot. But when we're moving, we're now up to 13 minutes. Quite the improvement from 7 minutes that we had earlier. So that is a lot better than what we had. Alright, so we just saved ourselves a lot of fuel and time. Alright? Unnecessary thrusters, just get rid of them.
Ship fuel low.
Alright, so we're going to head back towards there, and to save on our fuel further, we press Z, and that turns off our inertia dampeners. And when you let go, the forward momentum stays constant at 62 meters per second. If you look on the right hand side, you can see where it says speed, 62.5 meters per second. Okay? It stays like that. Our fuel time stays an average of 16 hours. It's not using any fuel to propel us forward. Alright? That being said, we can speed up a little bit. We're not going to use up that much fuel. Just speeding up to a proper speed for us to get there quicker. I'll go back to that 250 mark. And once we get to about 13, that's about when I'll start slowing down. And I do that because I don't want to stop at like 10. That's a little too close, and you never know exactly what is in front of you. You may have to have a little bit of room for maneuvers where there may be an asteroid or something like that in front of you. And the reason I chose this area is you saw earlier all the asteroids that were around us. I had to scout, I had to do this intentionally, find this spot where it had a bunch of asteroids around us, just so that way we had a good selection of where we could go and what we could do to find resources. A lot of asteroids around you means a lot of selection for potential resources. You don't have to go that far now for those resources. Ooh, 300, I've maxed out right there, maxed out the ship. So slow up a little bit there, and I overshot our mark. It's okay.
Ship fuel critical.
And it looks like we may pass up our big asteroid. But you can see, just in this area, I see 5 different asteroids. One over here on the left-hand side, one down here on the middle left, one right there in the middle right, and then one in the far right corner that is right there. And there's one right below it too. So we're good as far as asteroids directly in our vicinity. We also have one right over here and a few right there. So we have a ton of asteroids that we can explore. As you can see, I overshot us just by a little bit. If I turn the ship just like that, it'll slow it down faster. And you'll see we're passing directly underneath this asteroid. And we stopped right there perfectly. That's a little
Ship
trick.
fuel low.
It shifts your momentum and changes the direction that the thrusters are trying to power us into. So yeah, that's the easiest way to do that. Alright, we're going to head
Ship
right up
fuel
here to where the
critical.
base is, the atmospheric base. See
Ship
it?
fuel low.
Atmospheric lander. Alright, so right here where
Ship
it
fuel
says mining
low.
ship, we're going to go in there.
Ship fuel low.
We're not going to go inside the asteroid, but we will go there, and we'll go right here to this little spot
Ship
right there.
fuel low.
Get as close as we can, and I'll show you what you need the merge block for and why this is so important. We're going to turn this from a ship to a station. Stations are permanent.
Ship fuel
And
low.
this is a temporary ship, and it will despawn if you're on a
Ship
multiplayer
fuel
server.
low.
So you want to change it to a station as quickly as you possibly
Ship
can.
fuel low.
I chose this asteroid because this is where we were going. This is our
Ship
destination.
fuel low.
All right. You need to find an asteroid as
Ship fuel
quickly as you
low.
possibly can if you're starting out in space. If not, you do the
Ship
same thing
fuel low.
with the lander on your regular ship. But before
Ship
we do
fuel
this,
low.
we need to go right here to our cargo container. Press F, and these are the resources that we gathered from those things. Combine that, and take our gun out of there. We don't need it at the moment. We're not fighting anything. We're not in hostile territory of any kind. Alright, so this is the small cargo container that we're looking at right now. That's the main inventory of what we're looking at. Flight seat where we just were. The assembler, which is right beside. The refinery, which is just below it. I showed you that block a minute ago. You have your fuel, which is your reactor outside. Your collector, that has an inventory space as well. If you look right here, this has ice in it that you can use to convert to oxygen. As you know, ice, aka frozen water, is to hydrogen,